On December 25th, as the fifth candle of Hanukkah was lit, the third annual Hazon Food Conference opened in Monterrey, California. This year's conference brought over 550 people to a beachside resort to join in the ever-growing conversation of the new Jewish food movement. A movement, while young in years, has grown exponentially as ethical and social concerns enter mainstream Jewish communities regarding food production.
The new Jewish food movement is kind of the conversation around food issues that's informed by Jewish values and traditions and practices, and I think that it's really growing to the point where now it is a movement. It's not just a small group of people.
So right now they're calling it the new Jewish food movement. And I would say it's really expanding people's minds and horizons and encouraging them to be in touch with their food source and their food system and knowing where their food is coming from. And tying that to the new Jewish food movement, it's encouraging you to link the connection of Judaism, such as the holidays and the festivals, with your food and to tie it together socially, responsibly.
At the forefront of this food movement is conference organizer Hazon, an organization founded in 2000 to bring ecological awareness to Jewish communities that has since blossomed into an international community with programs ranging from bikes, hikes, and challah making.
We work to create a healthier and a more sustainable Jewish community and a healthier and a more sustainable world for everybody. And in practice, all of our programs are about, on the one hand, enabling and encouraging Jewish people to make a difference in the world, and at the same time renewing and strengthening Jewish life in that process.
The goal seems to be working, as a range of people became involved in the food conference this year. From rabbis to farmers, activists to chefs, and people who just like to eat, the conference boasted a community of Jews not often seen in one space.
Even just having people in the same place, there's a value to that in and of itself. You know, the fact that we're all eating together and the fact that we're all singing together and learning from each other, I think it's great. And I think you know, conferences like this give an opportunity to focus on the things that unite us rather than divide us.
One of the things that's amazing at this food conference is we've got 24 toddlers here. We've got more than 50 kids in the kids program. We've got multiple family groupings here, parents and kids and grandparents and stuff. And I think that we too often live in a self-selected universe in which people just mirror our own views, beliefs, backgrounds, and sometimes ages. And a piece of shlemut, a piece of wholeness, is bringing the pieces back together. And it's you know, it's not just whole foods, it's whole Jewish communities.
With the recent public disasters of both agri-processors and Bernie Madoff, there was a lot of attention given to ethics and Judaism at this year's food conference. Many participants and presenters credited the scandals with bringing new awareness and action to a very important issue.
I think that people are becoming much more aware and are really, you know, flabbergasted and surprised and disappointed that they didn't know this stuff before, and you know, and that the industry kept this stuff so tightly like a secret, because they knew that if people knew what was going on, that they wouldn't like it.
I think there's a real sense of urgency that we can't just react when something bad happens and sort of point our fingers and blame and, you know, write op-eds. We have to get engaged. We have to prevent these kind of things from happening in the future. And it's really our responsibility as a community to take steps to create the institutions and the systems that are going to not only react, but are going to be proactive in preventing abuse and unethical behavior from happening in the first place.
Also largely discussed was the Shmita year that just ended in Israel and what the mitzvah of Shmita means for the Jewish community at large. With the unveiling of Hazon's 7-year plan at the food conference, Hazon director Nigel Savage hoped to bring the discussion of 7-year cycles and the values that Shmita holds into everyday conversation.
And one of the things that we've moved forward at the moment is something called the Shmita Project, to start a conversation in the Jewish community between now and the next Shmita year about what in the 21st century, as heirs to a tradition of Shmita, our relationship to land could or should look like.
Exile comes upon the world on account of failure to observe the Shmita, which in my mind is one, a very strong statement and highlights the importance of Shmita. And to me, I understand it less as a punishment and more as a natural consequence. That if we don't adhere to these values and create our society that follows these systems, then we will experience exile in one form or another.
Whether committed activists or just folks that enjoy a good kugel, participants at this year's food conference all seem to come away inspired and ready for the next wave of the Jewish food movement.
We'll probably grow our own cucumbers. And even the fact that I say we is already amazing, because my wife's always been the person in the garden and not so much myself, but I can see a real benefit to getting more connected with the earth.
I also was really inspired by the mugs that we were given and carried it around all weekend, and I buy plastic water bottles all the time, and I am now going to get a water bottle.
There's 600 people here, and not all of them are hardcore activists who have been doing this for, whatever, 20 years. A lot of us are, are foodies or, people who keep up with Hazon but aren't really activists, and I think we come to something like this and we get really galvanized, and we're going to go back home. And I've started talking to people in San Francisco about starting a new CSA and the mission, and these little conversations are happening everywhere amongst people who maybe would never have seen themselves as Jewish food movement activists a week ago.
Reporting for JTA, this is Sasha Perry.